Playing hit after hit, hit after hit after hit. You've got your radio cranked up to the best station.
Hello again, my friends. This is Ernie back in the big chair here on Vale FM radio. My friend, can you hear me okay?
I got music up there, but I can hear your voice.
Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of delay. Right now, there's no the music has stopped playing. So
not on mine.
Okay, yeah, you just got to stop that play button on my show.
Okay, here it goes.
Okay, very good. And
yeah,
okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to have you say hello to my friend Beep Bopper, coming to us live right now from his home in Canada. How are you today, Beep?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm fantastic, my friend, fantastic. And I had just asked Beep a favor if he could look up a number on our friend Sarah Murnahan, who we're trying to help get some new lungs, courtesy of Jay Sands, who had really been pushing this as well on his night talk show, and I commend Jay for that. And I know Beep has also been doing some things of trying to help out with his friends and contacts in Canada and so forth. Beep, can you give us an update on the number of people that have signed her petition?
Yeah, I can do that, Ernie. 158,596 have signed the petition, and we only need 41,404.
Wow. That's tremendous, because I know when we were listening to Jay's show last night, I think they were, about 95,000, I think you just told me?
Yeah, 95.
So that is fantastic. So we need to keep the effort up, though, folks, because no decision has been made yet. And as far as I know, there's some politicians getting involved now, and more people are finding out about this effort. And again, I commend Jay and Beep for all they're doing to help this young lady. You know, it's an absolute travesty. If she was 12 years old, we really wouldn't even be talking about this story. But because she's 10 years old and they came up with this arbitrary number of 12, she goes into the back of the line, even though adults that might not be as critical as her and might have a little more time get first choice on lungs that become available, which is totally crazy to me, Beep. What do you feel about that? Do you have anything to say about that?
Matter of fact, I'm quite upset about it, because it's telling me that they're saying that a child's life is less important than an adult's life.
And that's what the mom was saying. You know, it's absolutely mind-boggling, because I know they finally put her on the adult list as well as being on the children's list to be a receipt of new lungs. Because of her condition, she was number one on both lists. But now, because of this ruling by these authorities saying that anybody under 12 has to go to the back of the line, all the mother's asking for is that she be treated just like everybody else that's on the list, and all the adults are not asking for anything special. They just want to be treated the same, Beep, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure. As far as I'm concerned, it's one, it's child abuse, and two, it's discrimination against a young person.
And as far as I'm concerned, as an adult, the children should be first in line.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? I've been fortunate to live almost 60 years here on this planet. If there's a child that's in need of a lung, and if I was on that list, I'd say, you know, if they offered me that lung, I'd say, no, I don't want it. I want you to give it to that girl. Give it to that young girl. I'd love to see that happen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh, it would be.
I know Jay mentioned that on his show the other day, and I thought that was quite interesting, and that would really be cool. But again, 10-year-old Sarah Murnahan, and she's up to 158,596. She has over 44,000 more signatures they'd like to get. And so please go to change.org and sign that petition. No matter where you are in the world, you don't have to be an American citizen. From what I understand, Beep, there's a little button they can click on there and just say where they're from and what country, and they can support Sarah and support this, because in the end, around the globe, we're all part of the human race. We're all brothers and sisters. We all need to look out for each other, and God forbid that you and I or someone else ever got into those shoes and had to walk that walk. They'd probably be singing a different tune right now, because it's got to be so hard and gut-wrenching for this family to deal with this, and all the headaches and all the red tape they have to deal with just to help their little daughter. And it just blows my mind, as you said earlier. It's just unbelievable.
It's serious. I still can't believe it.
No, it's whoever made that law, definitely does not have a firm grasp on what's important in life. That's my opinion anyway.
I truly believe that if that was the president's daughter, she'd be not only first in line, they'd give her the loan.
I unfortunately, it's tough to have to think of people that way, but that is the truth, absolutely. And the same with the Health and Urban Developments, the health secretary that's inevitably probably going to have to reverse this crazy decision and this crazy rule to get Sarah the lungs she needs. But I know those folks would definitely, they'd be taken care of. There's no doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. It's kind of cynical way to look at the world, but that's unfortunately the way it works many times, But hopefully Sarah will get what she needs, and we're hoping and praying that happens. And with all good people out there, I know the mother, during a little press conference I played a little clip of earlier, she said she appreciates all the efforts and every little bit helps that people are doing out there to get this changed. So again, I commend Jay for doing that, and Beep, what you're doing up there in Canada, and just all our folks at Vale FM Radio as we try to push this effort and help this little girl, 10 years old. Many of us are parents and grandparents, as you and I are, Beep, and God forbid one of our kids ever was involved in something like this. But it's not only looking out for Sarah, but I'm sure there are many, many other children that are also under the same guidelines and struggling right now with their family and getting through the red tape. So I'm sure, as one of the congressmen said, that this is something that has to be changed for all children.
Yes, definitely.
We need to take care of Sarah right now. She's kind of the focal point and the face that people are putting to this crazy rule. But I'm sure, as the congressman said, there are many other children out there right now who are waiting, like Sarah is, and the clock is ticking, and their fate is in people's hands that aren't medical people, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. But her doctors,
even the doctors are trying to get her to get it along, have it changed.
Yeah, and I know Jay was reading a lot of statements. You can leave a little comment along with signing the petition. And, it's interesting that a lot of the folks got right to the point, and many folks, cut right to the chase that this has got to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and it's just got to happen. So us here at Vale FM Radio, and I know our director, Andy Fraser, is 100% behind this effort. Thank God for that. And all of us here, as we try to help this family and do whatever little part we can to help. And I encourage everybody to ask a friend to do the same. And if we ask a friend and they ask another friend and they ask their friends and so forth, that snowball can keep rolling and we can keep beating this drum until that young lady is in recovery. We're going to keep this going until she's got her new lungs, she's in the recovery room, and she's doing okay. That's how long we're going to carry this on, in my opinion.
For sure. As a matter of fact, I just got a message from Andy saying that he agrees with us 100%.
Well, thank you, Andy, for that. Andy is a very level-headed, awesome gentleman, and I know he's all about the kids and what's common sense. It's just common sense. I mean, it's not brain science we're doing here. It's a common sense thing. Whoever made that arbitrary number of 12, why you even have a number in there at all? There should be no number there. Everybody should be treated the same. If you're the most at risk, you've got to be number one on the list, whether you're 10 years old or whether you're 53 years old or whether I'm hitting the desk like Jay does, or whether you're 67 years old. Jay's got me fired up on this, I'll tell you, man, and I love him for what he did.
Quite compassionate about this, too.
Yes, indeed. He certainly is. How about this, Bep? I'm going to play a quick song, and I'll come back with you, and I'd like to talk about things you're doing since you joined us here on Vale FM Radio in St. David's, and give folks your show times and so forth. So I know we haven't publicized that enough. We need to get the word out on all the new shows, especially yourself and some others that have joined us recently. So if you can stand by, Beep, I'll be right back with you, and we'll play a little bit of a song, and then we'll be back with Beep Bopper, who's up in the great country of Canada. Oh, Canada. La dee 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 dee. That's a beautiful song, by the way. Anyway, thank you, Beef, for being with me. You have a minute to come back after the song.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Again, it's Beat Bopper with us. We're going to listen to a little music now. And thank you very much for keeping it locked. And get into change.org and sign that petition.
You can go. You can start all over again. You could try to find a way to make another day go by. You can hide, hold all your feelings inside. You could try to carry on when all you wanna do is cry. Well, maybe someday we'll figure all this out. We'll try to put it into all our doubt. We'll try to find a way to make things better now. And maybe someday we'll live our lives out loud. We'll be better off somehow. Someday. Now we wait and try to find another mistake. If you throw it all away, then maybe you could change your mind. You can run, oh, and then everything is over and done. You could shine a little light on everything around you, man. It's good to be someone. And maybe someday we'll figure all this out. We'll try to put it into all our doubt. We'll try to find a way to make things better now. And maybe someday we'll live our lives out loud. We'll be better off somehow. Someday. But I don't wanna wait, I just wanna know, I just wanna hear you tell me so. Give it to me straight, tell it to me slow. Because maybe someday we'll figure all this out. We'll put an end to all our doubt and try to find a way to just feel better now. And baby, someday we'll live our lives out loud. We'll be better off somehow. Someday. Because sometimes we don't really notice just how good it can get. So maybe we should start all over, start all over again. Well, sometimes we don't really notice just how good it can get. So maybe we should start all over. We'll start all over again. Oh yeah. Oh, someday. Yeah.
Hey everybody, this is Ernie. We're back in the big chair here on Vale FM Radio. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world today. It's a TGIF. That was our friend Beat Bopper, Check, who has been with us. And I also have another guest I'd like to introduce now, our great director, Andy Fraser. Andy, how are you today?
Not too bad. How are you doing? You enjoying your show?
Yes, indeed. I love this stuff, as you know. I don't care if there's any. I love that there are people out there listening, but I think I do it anyway, just because I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know we share that love of music as Beep does as well. But thank you for checking in, Andy. Andy was messaging us as we were talking about young Sarah Murnahan and her plight here in the United States. And I just wanted to get Andy's comment on the whole situation. And as I mentioned, anybody in the world can sign this petition, no matter where you are located. You can access it and get online, change.org, and sign that petition. And Larry just gave me the new number, Andy. They're up to 158,596 signatures, which is fantastic.
That's certainly a good number, but how many do they actually need to effect some sort of response?
Larry, I think, said it was over 44,000, Larry, they still, Beep, that they still need?
Nope, it's 41,404.
41. So since I've been having you on the air, it went from 44 down to 41. Okay. But
so it has to have 200,000 signatories.
I think that's what they're looking for, Andy. The more powerful impact it'll have. And although politicians are doing crazy things, there's a couple of politicians that are getting behind this effort. From her district, and trying to talk some common sense into the administration and those that made this policy. It's non-medical people that came up with this arbitrary number of 12 that you'll be offered first choice. And because Sarah is number one on the list, but because she's 10 years old, she actually moves to the back of the list, and they offer it to folks that might not be as heavily involved with the medical situation and have their life, in the balance right now. They're estimating that in 2 weeks, if she does not get the lungs she needs, she will not be with us any longer, and that's it's totally wrong. Totally wrong.
It is totally wrong. But let me ask you one question, and in fact, let me put this question to everybody who is listening from the United States. Ernie, you've just said that a couple of the politicians from where the area where the girl lives has got behind this petition. Why haven't the rest of the politicians got behind it? And why haven't do the people from the United States who have themselves as individuals signed this petition intend to lobby their own representative both in the Senate and in Congress, and indeed in the more local government, to actually get behind it too?
That is a very important statement you just made, my friend. And as a matter of fact, when I was in Jay's chat room last night, I was talking about that same exact issue. And you and I are so much on the same page in many of these things. But anyway, I contacted I have 2 representatives and 2 senators here in my state. We're very small here, so we only have a small representation in Congress and the Senate. And they're all Democrats, which is the party of the current president, obviously. And I called them all and encouraged them to please look at this issue. And I talked to a couple of their high-level staff members, and they assured me that the congressmen and the senators were aware of what was happening with this story, and they were on board with this petition, and they were on board with changing this.
But does the people in the United States actually know that?
No,
because the reality is from what you've told me, that only 2 members that are involved in government have actually come out publicly and are behind this. Surely it should be that every single member of the Senate, every single member of Congress, and every single member of your more local government type groups should all be out publicly, not only saying yes, that this is wrong, but they should be saying yes, we get everybody to sign the petition, so that you don't end up with just 200,000 petitions, but you end up with 300 million petitions plus, which means not only if you end up with that, then the government is going to actually not only have to make a statement, but they're actually going to have to do something about it. Because if basically every person in America signed this petition, then there is absolutely no way the government could actually not do nothing about it.
Very well said, my friend, and I echo that statement. The 300 million people, every person in this country should be behind this, because God forbid you're ever in the same shoes as this poor family right now and what they're going through and the red tape they're having to cut to get this girl's life saved and get her the lungs she needs. It's all they're asking for. They're not asking for anything special. They're just asking to be treated as everybody else is treated, and just because of her age, it should not be different, and she should not move in back of the queue just because she's under 12 years old, which is a crazy, arbitrary number. But to echo your statement, every politician, every congressman, every senator, everybody in the country should be behind this. It's absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct.
But also because the White House hasn't made a statement on it yet, and because most of the politicians haven't at least come out publicly, even if they are supporting it in private, then it's only being covered by, from what I understand, one news network at the moment.
Yeah, there's pretty much only one that's really pushing this and advertising this whole effort and campaign. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on and what party you're affiliated with here in the country or around the world for that matter. It's all about this young girl and doing what's right and the common sense thing. It's such a crazy, unbelievable law or rule they have. And these companies that run these organ donor programs are all under the auspices and the control of the U.S. government. They're sort of contracted out to carry on with these programs. So, the government and those in charge can do something about it and change this policy. But like you said, Andy, they got to get out and beat the drum. I was so disheartened the other day. I got in there just to check the number the other night, and it was under 100,000 still, which surprised me. I thought we'd be well over 100,000 at that point in time when I checked it. But I went over. They also have some other surveys and so forth on that site, change.org. And there was one they were talking about. They're changing the look of a Disney doll, and there was like 249,000 people that got into that and got involved with that, and we're under 100,000 with Sarah, which is a real life and death situation. So that was so disheartening to see that people, are more concerned about the look of a Disney doll than a person, a real life. I just was so upset by that when I saw that on that site.
Yes, but you see, I want to know, if I was an American citizen, I would want to know, because this isn't a political issue.
Absolutely right.
Right, this is an issue pertaining to somebody's life.
Absolutely.
That I'd want to know why it isn't so widely available public. Why aren't the other news networks carrying it? Why aren't all of the politicians publicly out there saying we need to do something about this? Why isn't it being discussed as a priority in the Senate and the Congress? And why hasn't the President of the United States of America in the first place come out and said this is wrong and we need to change this? Because it's not political, it's common sense. We allow transplants. You either allow transplants for everybody or you don't allow transplants at all. Right. And the reality is that the president can make it. You don't need 200,000 signatories to get the president actually to make a statement on this, and the White House to make a statement on this. It should be common sense that they actually come out and make a statement on it in the first place and say, yes, we're going to do something about it, as should the leader of the Congress, as should the leader of the Senate, and every member of both those bodies, in which case, if they really wanted to, they could change the law overnight.
Absolutely. She could get hers today. She could get those lungs she needs to save her life today.
It's not about see. This is the part that annoys me. It's not actually about signatories. This is about the fact, from my perspective, this is about the fact that these people already know there's an issue, already know that it's wrong morally. Right. They already know it's got nothing to do with politics at the end of the day.
Right.
And there's absolutely no reason why they couldn't all come out and say, right, no, we're going to do something about this, and we're going to change it now. Not next week, not next month, not next year. Now,
today, this minute.
When they wanted to go into, when the U.S. government decided they wanted to go into Iraq, it was done. Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. You're right about that, Andy. Absolutely correct.
Right, which proves the point that if the government is of a mind, then they can do it, and they can do it very, very quickly.
Absolutely correct,
and I think people in the States should be asking their politicians and asking their president publicly why we haven't heard from many of them yet.
You know, and one congressman, Andy, if I could just interject, made a good point, that Sarah is not the only one in this situation. There are other children in our country whose families are trying to cut through this red tape as we speak. So, this is more global. She's sort of the face of this whole thing right now, but there are other children that are also in the same boat, in the same situation. And so I echo your statement 100% wholeheartedly that every clear-thinking politician, which hopefully that we got a few left. But anyway,
well, you've only got to ask the one question, which you kind of said in the relation to yourself. Beth has also said I would echo, but you've only got to ask the question of these individuals: what if it was your daughter?
Amen. That's right.
What would you be doing then? Yeah. I guarantee you, it would be on every news channel in the United States of America.
You're right about that, Andy. That's unfortunately the way it works. I hate to be cynical, but
well, that's why they need to be. That's why they need to be asked. Why aren't you out there? And why aren't you out there in public? They may all, for all we know, have signed the petition. I don't know. Because obviously we don't know who signed the petition.
Right, exactly.
But this is not about signing a petition. This is about the government can make a change overnight if they really, really want to. They could rush through the legislation if they wanted to and have this changed within 24 hours.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that could happen, and that should be happening. I am like every day I keep watching the news when I wake up in the morning, waiting to see that story where they finally come to a common sense decision and decided to help this young girl. And I haven't seen it yet. It's unbelievable how long this has taken. She's been 18 months on the list to start with, and her situation is going critical now. And time is of the essence. So
the time is often of the essence when anybody needs a transplant, whether they are 1 year old or whether they are into their 70s or 80s. When you need a transplant of certain organs, it is usually, at the end of the day, the end result of no transplant is usually death at some point.
Right.
There are ways of prolonging people's lives, medication-wise and stuff like that, but that can only work for a certain length of time. When somebody needs a critical replacement, the only actual end solution is getting that critical replacement in the first place. And I want to ask everybody in the United States that listens to this show, and listens to any show on Vale FM radio for that matter, get out there. Ask your local radio station, your local TV station, the main news coverage that you watch. Why aren't they covering this story? Ask your local politicians, to not go up onto the website and sign the petition, but to get into the Senate or Congress and get a law passed to change it and get on with it.
That's right.
This is a moral, common sense issue. This is not about the Democrats. This is not about the Republicans. It's about people and people's lives.
Very well said, my friend. Very clear, concise, and very understandable to everybody. I hope they're getting that message. And people, you need to pick up the phone or get on the computer, whatever you need to do. All the information is available on how to contact these folks that are the decision makers in our country, and we need to do it right now, today. As Andy said, we can't delay. This should be changed right now, this minute. And if you don't mind, gentlemen, I'm just going to play a brief news story by Fox, is the one network that has been heavily involved with talking about this issue and has had the mother on several times and relatives of young Sarah and little friends of hers. So I'm just going to play this for it's 2 minutes long. and it's just a little story that the local Fox network in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where she's been in hospital for the last 3 months. She's so sick she has not been able to leave in over 100 days. I'll be right back with Andy Fraser, our director. Thank you so much for joining us, Andy, and Beep is with us as well. And let me play this little cut for everybody, and then we'll be right back with our great director, Andy Fraser, and our show host, Beep Bopper. Hold on, please, and have a listen to this, please.
Well, a Pennsylvania girl battling a deadly disease. She's in serious need of a lung transplant, but now a national organ rule may be standing in her way. Fox News' David Kitchen has the story.
It's bad enough when anyone has to suffer dealing with a life-threatening illness, but this young lady you're about to meet will make you ask, why do children have to suffer, especially when it seems like the system is stacked against them? Sweet Sarah Murnigan sings her own song of hope and strength, and her family says she needs both now more than ever.
We're starting to face the fact that, she may not make it and that we're sitting here with leaks.
The brave 10-year-old is fighting a tough battle with cystic fibrosis, and her lungs are failing. She needs a transplant soon to have a chance at survival and a chance at her dreams.
You'll get...
Sarah and her family thought that big chance came when she made a list of adults waiting for transplants since pediatric lungs are rare, but they found a national organ rule in their way. Her parents say they learned Sarah has to be at least 12 to compete with adults on the list, even if their cases aren't as serious. They insist hers is.
The only thing standing between my daughter living and my daughter dying is the fact that she's 10 and not 12. That's unreal to me.
Since we've really gotten to understand the rules of all of this in the last week or two, it's really driven us to speak out.
Family and friends are fighting for her, circulating this petition on change.org, which has nearly 12,000 signatures. Support is growing on social media, too. And the family says every bit can help.
It's just an impossible place to be. And you have so much hope, and then it just feels like, everything was sort of shattered last week when she got so much worse.
The parents say there are regional medical centers that can make an exception to the rule, and they say that Sarah's doctors are working very hard to make that possibility happen. The family simply hopes that her story alone can help change the policy. At CHOP, Dave Kinchin, Fox 29 News.
Did you hear that story? Did you hear the anguish in the voice of that mother and what they must be going through? It's just incredible. But she did mention that all the efforts that people are involved with do certainly help. So, as our director Andy was saying right before that little track that we played, everybody needs to get on the phone, get on the computer, whatever necessary means you have. And I'm talking everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if your senator has a office that's close by to you, get down to his office and ask him what is he doing. Don't bother with email, don't bother with phone. Get down there and ask him.
You know what? I think I'm going to be getting in my vehicle as soon as this show's over. You gave me a great idea. Absolutely.
Well, because phone calls and emails, you can pacify them. Try pacifying somebody when you've got them in front of you. That's a totally different thing altogether. Is there an email address that is used for the president, for people to contact the president? If it is, bombard it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that he is well aware. Let's not make it so that it's 200,000 signatories. Let's make it that it's 300 million emails.
Yes.
That will get the notice.
And let's. I'm surprised that there aren't people walking around the Congressional building, the House of Congress, up on Washington D.C. There should be like masses of people out there just to bring light to this.
They should be holding a special Senate session and a special Congress session right this moment in time to change what needs to be changed, right? Which they could do if they wanted to do it. If there's a will, they can do it. It's been proven in the past. A government can move when they want to move. This is an issue that they not only should move on, but if they don't, then one has to ask the question why.
You're absolutely right. This is definitely a moral issue that supersedes any party affiliations or whatever side of the track you happen to be on. It's just about doing the right thing. And as the mother said, it's about fair treatment and equal treatment, and that's all they're asking for. That is absolutely all they are asking for.
I mean, this is the thing. I only look at how things might happen in the UK. I don't know whether there's an age restriction in relation to this in the UK. There might be, but if there was a big issue, it would be national news by now, and the likelihood is that we would have already had a response from government, and if the pressure was so much, the likelihood is we already would have, if the government was in a mind to listen to the people, then we already would have had the necessary session in Parliament and the necessary session in our House of Lords in order to make the change necessary to resolve this issue. That's the reality of, and that's how quickly it can be done. It's been done in the past. And come on, guys, you need to get out there and ask your politicians, ask your local media, your national media, ask your president, why have you all been so silent on this issue?
Yes,
Let's now not be silent. Let's be very vocal, and let's get on with sorting it.
Well, absolutely, Andy. You're talking common sense, my friend, and that's what we need. People just...
Well, it ain't rocket science.
That's my exact words I said earlier, exactly the way I put it. It is not rocket science. It's very simple and easy, and it needs to happen today, this minute, this hour, right now. This little girl has to be helped, has to be taken care of. That's, it's the right thing to do, and it's got to be done. It's got to be done. And people, like you said, they need to go knocking on doors of these offices and finding out what's going on and get these folks behind it, because they're representing us in the end. They're our voices in the government, so they should be representing the people. And the people need to get out there and knock on some doors and make some phone calls, whatever means you have available to you to get behind this effort and help this little girl and those like her in our country that are going through the same thing. It's totally ridiculous. And again, as Andy said, it's very simple, cut and dry. It should be a very quick and easy solution to this whole thing. And we're going to keep beating the drum till that happens. As I said, Andy, and I hope you don't mind, I promise that we're going to follow this through right until this girl's in the recovery room with her new set of lungs, which is what has to be done. No way around it, no other answer. That is it.
That is the moral thing to do, and at the end of the day, that is kind of part of the ethos of the stuff we do here within the Vale FM radio group. So I have absolutely no problem with any of that. But let me just make one further suggestion on this. Why not people in America not only do what I've suggested already and that you've reiterated, but how about you all get on the, in your cars or on the bus or on the plane or train with a placard and park yourself outside of the White House. That will make sure the president knows about it.
Oh, that's for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, you can do it for things like the Vietnam War. You can do it for things like getting us out of Iraq and other issues like that. Do it for this, because this is something that really should be done. If there's a few 100,000 people sitting outside of the White House gates peacefully with placards, right?
Right.
There ain't no way the president ain't going to know about it.
And they're not going to be able to remain silent if that.
And it will highlight it more publicly on television and radio as well, because a few 100,000 people outside the White House is big news.
You got that right, and that would be probably a worldwide thing as well, no doubt about it.
It would put the pressure on, and this is what why I'm putting forward these ideas. The only way you're going to get these people that you elected to represent you to actually do that is by putting the pressure on them. Because if you don't, this won't go. This is not going to go away. What we'll end up with is a girl losing her life, and still more people sitting at risk of losing their lives anyway, and that's happening every day, right? If you want to change this, and if you want to make your representatives listen, you've got to get to them face to face, any which way possible, whether it's through the media, whether it's visiting their offices, whether it's email, whether it's phone, whether it's sitting outside of the White House or sitting outside of Senate or sitting outside of Congress.
And you're
Actions
absolutely right.
Actions speak louder than words. Show your government, right, that you want this sorted, right, and tell them you are our representatives. At the end of the day, we can vote you out of office.
That's right. That's right. They need to all get behind this for sure. But you're making me realize I made that phone call, but that's not enough. I need to go over and physically go visit these offices. My congressman has an office that's probably about maybe 25 minutes away from me. So as soon as I'm done on this program today, my friend, and that was a great suggestion, and I encourage all clear-thinking, great Americans to do the same thing and get over there and knock on the door and sit there until you get to speak to somebody.
And call your local media, call your local radio stations, and ask to speak to phone your papers and ask to speak to their news editors and ask them why aren't they covering this story.
Yeah, that's
media's there to inform people, so why aren't they informing you?
Yes, indeed, I agree totally with that, and that's
go up there and ask them the question.
That's right. That's right.
I'm sorry. I mean, I feel extremely strongly about this when it comes, because when it comes to it, when a government wants to change something, boy, how fast they can move to do that, right?
Right.
Right. And with this particular issue, it really surprises me that only Fox News is the only station that I'm aware of that's carrying it.
Over here,
as a news story.
I haven't not seen it on any of the other major networks here in the States. Fox is the only one that's behind this whole, this family and Sarah and her plight right now.
Yeah, and good on them for being there, and I hope that they keep the pressure on. But the question still needs to be asked, and the only people that can ask it are the people in the States, is to ask all of the media why they're not covering it, and get it covered, and
Absolutely.
Keep it covered until there is a change in the law.
I agree 100%, and why that has not happened already is beyond me. It is totally, I just cannot understand it, and it's just so disheartening. It really is. It's just I don't know. It just bothers me.
If this was the president's daughter, it not only would be national news, it would be international news.
Right. And it would be taken care of. That's for sure.
And yes, it would be taken care of too. But this is the reality, right? It would be news all over the world.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
So it should be news all over America at the very least.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, my friend. Absolutely correct, and you well said. All your statements I concur with 100%. And we need to make it happen. We need to do it, folks. If we need to rattle some cages and knock on some doors, that's what you got to get out and do. Because the clock is ticking. And as the mother mentioned in that little piece I played earlier, she's got 2 weeks by all estimates on the outside. And if something is not done, it'll be a national tragedy. It will certainly be.
But the reality is that this is one person we're talking about, but it's not just one person in this situation.
Absolutely.
Right? This is not a one person issue.
That is absolutely right, and that's one of the points. That congressman from her district had said, this is not about just Sarah. This is about many other children in our country that are going through the same plight and in the same predicament. And so, this will affect many, many more lives than Sarah. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, the reality, I'm sorry, just, if I was there with you, mate, right, I'd be driving to Washington.
Yeah, there you go. See that?
Right, your car would be gone.
That's why I love you, brother, because you are.
Right, because I'd have I'd have been in your garage by now, right? found some piece of board for a placard and a stake for it, written something on it, and I'd be off to Washington, even though I don't know where the hell I'm going. But I'm hoping anyway, your car would have sat nav, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's the reality, right? The way to make this happen, right, is by pressure. Right. And I'm telling you, a few 100,000 people sitting outside of the White House will make plenty of pressure, right? Absolutely. And there ain't no way, and the bottom line is actually you don't want a statement from the White House.
Right. We want them to come out and say.
You want the action. You basically just want them to get into the government and do what they're supposed to do, which is govern.
Absolutely.
Right, and in this case, the governing is by by holding emergency sessions of both the House and the Congress and getting it sorted. Right, it can be done. It could be done in the matter of a few hours.
Yeah, and I hold my breath. I keep hoping and praying for that every day I turn the news on. I'm hoping that common sense will prevail and they'll come out like you said, not just say that we're looking at the issue. Well, Sarah has received her lungs. She's in surgery right now, and it's done. And the law is going to be changed, and the rules are going to be changed moving on in the future. And we're so sorry that
you don't even want that, mate. You want the very first part of what you said, which is the girl gets the lungs she needs. But you want the government to announce at the same time that they've done the work needed to change it. Right. So it's not going to happen again.
Absolutely.
You don't want to. Well, we solved it this time. Right, and we'll go forth and look to change it, to change what needs to be changed. We want it changed now.
Absolutely.
Right. So the statement should be made by the president, not by some White House aide. Right. We want the president out there on his podium saying, right, we've heard the people. This is a tragedy. Right. It should never be allowed to happen, and we've changed it.
And I'm signing the new law right now. As Sarah's in surgery, I'm signing this new law right now.
Exactly. That's what you want.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Because anything else is short change. Because they could easily turn around and say, well, we'll sort it for this one because it's highlighting one girl. Yeah. And we'll talk about making change. But do nothing until we get there again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't want no lip service, no actions.
You don't want any of that. You want it all sorted in one go. And the bottom line is, and I've said it already, and I'm going to say it again, is if they want to change something, boy, they can do it, and boy, they can do it really, really fast.
It is amazing
when it suits them.
Absolutely right, and we've seen many examples of that. So it definitely can happen. You're right about that, my friend. Absolutely right.
So come on, everybody in the States, right? Get there, right? By making it happen. You talk about having your constitution and all of the rights you have under your constitution, including free speech and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line is that the government's there to uphold the constitution, right? It's your constitution. It's your government. You elected them, right? You need to make them listen, and they need to realize that they have to listen to the people who put them in power in the first place, because they are there to serve the people, not to serve themselves.
Amen to that. I hope they're out there listening, and I hope they're getting this message, because you're very, very right and very correct in that, Andy. And I appreciate that very much, my friend. I'm going to take just a minute. I want to play one more song for Sarah here before we get toward the end of the show. And if you've seen her picture on that website, change.org, beautiful young lady she is. And this track is called I Love Your Face. We'll be right back with our director, Andy Fraser, and Beep is still with us here on Vale FM Radio, our ethos, spreading peace and love around the world. And that's what we're all about. So let's get behind this effort, as our great director, Andy Fraser, said, and we need to make it happen right now, this minute, today.
I love the way you smile at me, an open door that lets the sun shine in. It lights my world, my day begins. I love your face, I love the look that's in your eyes. You see right through the deepest part of me, right down into the heart of me. I love your face. Don't you ever change. You're just right for me. I love all of you, and especially I love your face. I love the message there for me. The greatest love story I ever heard, without a sound, without a word. I love your face, I love your face, I love your face.
Just wondering if that one.
Tonight I cried the tears of a child who knows what fear runs deep and wild inside. But the river's in flood tonight. I lay down and the light streamed across my face. I felt the beauty of some deeper grace, and I tried to find my way to the other side. Now I feel your skin as smooth as silk, drunk like a baby on his mama's milk. Take me down under the wishing tree, lay your healing hands on me. On me. Been a long time riding this deserted trail. There's no messiahs out here, baby, but I found the Holy Grail, alright. 'Cause I'm alive in your arms tonight. skin as smooth as silk, drunk like a baby on his mama's milk. Take me down under the wishing tree and lay your healing hands on me. On me. Like a baby on his mama's milk. Take me down under the wishing tree and lay your healing hands on me. Lay your healing hands on me. Oh, lay your healing lay your healing hands on me. Oh, lay your healing hands on me. On me.
Hello, my friends. This is Ernie, Deputy Director of Vale FM Radio Group. I have a special request today for all of you and a special plea. 10-year-old Sarah Mernigan has end-stage cystic fibrosis and has been on the lung transplant list for 18 months. Too sick now to leave Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for 3 months. She has only a week or two before she will lose her battle. If she were 2 years older, she would have a high probability of receiving lungs in time. Sarah is eligible for adult donor lungs, but because of her age, she will only receive them after all adult candidates, regardless of how sick they are, have an opportunity to accept them. We believe this ruling and this rule is wrong and wrong-headed. So please go to change.org and sign the petition on Sarah's behalf. And the petition says, in fact, please reconsider the policy that excludes children under age 12 from receiving adult lungs based on medical necessity. And we implore you to start by making an immediate exception for 10-year-old Sarah Mernigan, who has been on the lung transplant waiting list for 18 months. The policy that requires adult lungs to be offered first to adults in less dire need than Sarah is wrong-headed, we believe. Please treat her life as equal to an adult's life. She doesn't have much more time. She needs the lungs now. Please give her the chance to receive the adult lungs she needs to save her life. So again, please visit www.change.org. You'll see a picture of Sarah Mernigan, the young 10-year-old. And please, we implore you to sign the petition and help us in this. And that was started off by our great Jay Sands, a Night Talk with Jay Sands last night. He was talking about this issue and dedicated his show to Sarah. And we are behind you 100%, Jay, and encourage all our listeners to please, we implore you to sign this petition, and let's change this rule, and let's get Sarah the lungs she needs. Thank you so very much for your support, and please pass the word on to all your friends and all your social networks. Thank you again so very much. All right, folks, we're back right now, and I'd like to go to our director, Andy Fraser. Andy's still with us, as well as Beat Bopper in Canada. Thank you for hanging with us, Andy.
Just that we've only got a couple of minutes at the most before the show finishes. I just wanted to say, right, I am at present on the whitehouse.gov website. There is a link which is www.whitehouse.gov/contact/questions-and-comments. Okay?
Right.
You can get onto that website. It says here, President Obama is committed to creating the most open and accessible administration in American history. To send questions, comments, concerns, or well wishes to the President and all his staff, please use the form below. Right? There's a form there, right? There's certain information is required, like your email address and stuff like that, right? But you can actually you can select the subject and healthcare is under it. You can write a message and you can get to the President that way, right?
Right.
So if everybody gets on that website, okay, and fills out the comments box and the necessary details, the President's going to hear about it, especially if thousands upon thousands of people, or millions better still, actually get on there and do it.
I think we should flood that website with emails. And what was that?
Well, you don't flood it with emails. You actually go onto the website and you fill out the form.
So it's a contact form where you
Yes.
can submit a question or a comment.
Yes. Yeah, and it's got a drop-down box for subjects, and healthcare is one of the subjects.
And Andy, can you give that again quickly for those that missed that?
It's www.whitehouse.gov/contact/questions-and-comments. And that will take you straight to it.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that, Andy. That's great news. Great. I'm going to get on that myself as soon as I'm done here with the show today. And for those of you out there, we have just a couple of minutes to go, and Mark's Music Factory will be coming up from 7 to 10 p.m. live, and I believe the show will be covered by our DJ Tyler this evening. So Tyler will be carrying you through the next 3 hours, and I'm sure Tyler will be talking more about this issue as well. And I know Jay will be following up with it tonight, following Mark's Music Factory with DJ Tyler, as Jay will be on 3 to 6 a.m. over there in the UK, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. So again, thank you so much, Andy, for your clear, concise comments. I really appreciate that.
And just to let you know that on the form, as you go, you have to go right down to the bottom to submit it. There is a bit there that says "Contact me." Click the box, because that means that you are saying that a response is requested.
Right, and they'll have to reply, and if they don't reply to you, submit another one and another one and another one until you get a reply.
Well, you can then ask them the question, why haven't they responded?
Right, there you go. So let's go, folks. Let's put some pressure on those that make these decisions and those that can change this decision and make it happen, as Andy said, today.
This show was produced and compiled by AJF Productions DJs for the Vale FM Group.